thank you for coming here for the Las Vegas Actors and Filmmakers.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
I'm flattered.
No problem. No problem. Well, of course, everybody in the local community knows who you are, right? But there's so many people that don't know who you are, and there's even probably still a good number in the local community that maybe don't. So why don't you tell us about some of the work that you've done in the past that we should be familiar with if we're doing work in our community here.
I guess the most recent film that I had worked on was with Paul Campanella for the 48-Hour Film Project, which you were part of, as well as After with Tobin Herringshaw. So
which is really good, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That was a good experience for me.
Yeah.
It was hard work, but it was good.
How long did that shoot take?
2 days.
2 days.
Actually, 2 days in Nelson, and another day or two separately. We did some of the other shots with the kids in the car. Yeah.
Now that was all in studio, right? The car scene was all green screen and stuff. I think
that's
Tobin
right.
was saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Tobin was saying that when some of the scenes that you did that were probably the most emotional ones in the movie were you're holding a camcorder and there's basically no power to it. You guys are running some wires to it. Like, that's part of the story.
Yeah.
And you're basically acting to a blank screen, but you're supposed to be seeing this whole thing that's, without giving away spoilers, but you're supposed to be seeing this horrible thing that's happening.
Yeah.
And your reaction in that film, was like so believable and so moving.
Oh,
how on earth did you do that? I mean, like, what is that like to do that? Basically stare at nothing and just what is that like for you, like, to do that? Is there a process? Is there
I just put myself in that place emotionally, thinking of myself as a mother watching basically the world ending.
Yeah.
And I was able to go there, so I was happy that it turned out. I know I did that for the audition, and it was funny because he handed me the camcorder and I thought it was supposed to play something, so I almost broke in the audition, but I didn't, so I guess that's what got me the part. So
oh, that's fun. That's fun.
Yeah.
Okay, well, one of the things I do want to know before we get more into the discussion about the craft of acting for you is how did you get to Vegas? I mean, I know you're not from Vegas, so what brought you here? And
no, I'm not from Vegas. I came here with a show that was supposed to be here for 6 weeks because I'm a dancer and singer as well. And, for many years I've done shows in Vegas. So, that was supposed to be 6 weeks, and then it got extended, and then eventually I got in some other shows. And I'm tall and I have ballet training, so I fell into the showgirl thing, and that was a great experience for me too. But I had done acting in high school, and I'd taken classes before I got here, and I was actually trying to find some classes during that time, and it took me a while. Actually, I kind of put it on the back burner for a while, and then finally I found a few teachers that
really helped you along.
Yeah.
It seems to be the story when I've talked to a number of people locally that are not from Vegas that have come to Vegas. It's kind of like there's a similarity in the story where they came here for what they thought was going to be a very brief period of time. And they might have done one job, one small job, and then that led to something else, which then led to something else, and then before you know it, they're a resident here, and they've been here for how many years? Like, how many years have you been here?
12 years.
See, 12 years, right? But it's funny how that story starts. That it's just like it just starts with a small kind of thing.
It certainly was not a plan, but also if you want to be a performer and be in shows and be a dancer as well as singer, then you have to be where the work is.
Right.
So it just kind of evolved, and sometimes you have to go with the flow in life, and I certainly did. I mean, it's basically, Vegas or New York for stage shows,
Right.
and obviously LA's,
Right.
more music videos and for dance stuff anyway. But
So,
yeah.
what was the transition, or was it always in the cards for you into acting? Coming here and starting out with basically doing shows as a dancer.
Yeah.
What happened? Like, how did you end up becoming an actress and start doing film work and all of that kind of thing?
Like I said, I had done acting before, but not just straight acting necessarily. I mean, I'd done some musicals in high school, and I guess I love all of it. So I like it separately, but I also would still like to put it all together and do maybe musical theater, which I've done some of. But I think I just really maybe wanted to not test my luck, but maybe test my skills. And in the classes I was taking, it was really fun for me to just focus on, acting, because that in itself is a lot anyway. So I started auditioning more, and then it just kind of evolved that way. I started getting more parts, and there's definitely like commercial work, I would say, in Vegas.
Now, have you done a lot of commercial work?
I've done a bit, yeah. And for me anyway, that sort of feels like the majority of stuff that is here. In my experience, there's some film stuff here too. But I guess also too, I freelance, so basically the more versatile I am, then it helps. So whether I'm a showgirl or model, like I did the Toby Keith's short film before his concert opener as a showgirl, but so sometimes I feel like it crosses over. It certainly crosses over for me. So
I think that's something that's a surprise too for people that know you, or that have become aware of you as an actress. I know that for me, when I first became aware of you as an actress, I think I did a little bit of homework first, and I saw that you were, a showgirl, a dancer, and all of the kind of that arena. And when I think I saw a little bit of your reel, and I saw some of your acting, and then I saw after, and I was blown away. And I remember thinking,
how did that happen?
Well, no, it's more like, how is there not more of this? Like, this person is so good that, like, you never would have guessed it by, like, if you just look at your, your basic information about you as a dancer. On
paper,
Right, like, you would never make that connection. And then you watch you, and, like, after, like I said, and then you're just like, what is going on? Like, holy cow, like.
Right.
So. Yeah. That's pretty amazing to me.
Oh, thank you.
That happens. So. You've done a lot of these, you're saying sort of freelance, and you just sort of make yourself, branch off in the different things. But it, obviously, it keeps coming back to acting, and it seems like it's more of that lately, at least in the last couple of years, right? So,
for sure.
Is there a reason for that?
Probably my focus too. Maybe I'm taking it more seriously. Whatever I do, whatever I decide to do, I'm very focused on. So certainly, you're saying, you saw my resume, or, I'm working on, building those credits, as I'm sure a lot of actors feel the same way. I have a few friends that
it's a constant thing.
It's always and also, I guess I did do a business seminar with an acting coach from LA, and she helps you with everything with your package, and it's like, no, take that off, that doesn't count. That it's like, yeah, but I worked so hard for that but to be taken seriously as just a straight actress, like but to me it's all connected. I mean, I wouldn't be the actor that I am if I hadn't had that experience for so many years on stage, even though it is a different craft completely. But to me, it does connect.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it's a separate thing, you know, to be able to be emotional, you know, if you have a really emotional scene and then cut to, you know, you're on stage being a showgirl, you know, it's a totally different thing, but I think that has helped me with being a performer.
Because you're used to the regimen of being a performer, right?
Yeah,
so.
And honestly, the discipline of being a dancer, it's just, you know, if you want to be good, you have to focus on it.
Right.
So it's, you have to take class, there's always something to learn.
Right.
Like, you know, sometimes the more you learn, the more there is to learn, because then you're like, oh no. Like,
yeah, you sort of,
you get to a plateau, or, you know, and you think...
Or you get the sense of reversal almost, like you get the sense that the more you begin to learn something, the more you realize you don't know about the bigger picture, and the picture just keeps getting bigger.
So, I mean, I get overwhelmed all the time. It's, you know, but maybe that's kind of cool because you discover all the time, and I think that's what keeps me passionate, you know, because I love learning and growing, and maybe it's the challenge too, and it's just discovering things about yourself, like different facets, you know, and so I find that really interesting. So I think that kind of keeps propelling me forward as well.
Because it's something different every time, or it can be.
Yeah.
Instead of just doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah, and then, you know, you're learning different parts, and different characters require different things, and thinking a different way, you know. Yeah. It's interesting to me. So
now, do you have a process for, you know, when you're preparing for a role or when you're going to audition for a role? Do you have like some kind of regimen that you go through? Like Paul was talking about something that he's been doing since he started out, which was, you know, doing like a, you know, breakdown of the script and all that kind of thing.
Yes, absolutely.
It sounded like a rather lengthy process.
Is
that something that you do as well, or something similar?
Yes, because I take Paul's class. So, yes, absolutely. Yes. And it gets easier. Sometimes it's not always clear, or I'm not always perfectly on, but yeah, it's interesting, you know.
It helps the process for the audition, of course, right?
Oh, you have to do it after that. Absolutely.
Now, was there a time where you were not doing that and doing auditions?
Yes, because I mean, in this detailed sort of way, I wasn't aware of that was out there, or, you know.
Right. So are you able to see a difference now that you are doing that process and more disciplined about it?
Yeah, because it's more specific. It's clearer, you know, it's, transitions are bigger, it's, more of a crisp performance, I guess you could say.
Well, I think anybody that's worked with you on set knows that, just, I mean, you have to be brain dead not to notice. I mean, there's something about, you could tell when you're going into a scene that you've done some kind of work, you know, that you're not just sort of arriving blindly to the situation, and then that you get the sense that there's been some kind of preparation, and that you kind of go into a zone that, you know, you have this world sort of in your mind about what's going to happen. And I also noticed when I did work with you on the 48-hour thing that when you get a direction, it's very transparent. It's like you have this way of just applying what's going on.
Oh, thank you.
You know, but it seemed almost effortless, and it's kind of interesting to watch. And I think some people would be fascinated about that. Like, what's that like for you? Which leads me into my next question: is you know, how do you feel about working with directors as far as the kind of direction that you do get? What has been your experience as far as, you know, let's say, you know, good direction, bad direction, you know, what do you find helps you? What do you find hurts you when we're actually working on a film, you know?
I think knowing, well, obviously if you have time with the script, coming in, you want to come as prepared as possible, but also knowing what the director's vision is, and sometimes you don't have all that background, so you have questions, and it's really helpful if the director can answer those for you, or the writer. Sometimes it's the same person. Usually
in filmmaking, it seems to be the case, right?
Yeah, well, on the smaller film, smaller budget, right? Certainly that just giving you information that will help your performance. As far as directing, I guess especially for those emotional scenes, I need to be able to get there, so I need a heads up, like that we're shooting this now, because it's, some people think it's just like a tap. It's it's not. It has to come from somewhere, so I can't just I cry on cue, but but that, I guess really that's not the point, the tears, but it's where is that coming from? It can't be empty, right? So it's not necessarily about the tears, but so just maybe a director that respects that and kind of can know what an actor needs to do, but I guess everyone's different and they have a different process for those intense moments. But
so would you say that you prefer your director to be more sort of engaged with you, say on a verbose level, or do you want them to give you, say, something that's more specific? Say, just like small messages that say, maybe explaining a beat, that it's this is what the action is, kind of like verbs. It's like persuade this person, or repel this person. Do you feel that those kinds of things are helpful, or do you feel like a discussion about?
I think more of a discussion. Because that may help at times, but also just having more of a discussion of the whole trajectory of the scene or moment, so then you have time to breathe and it kind of comes out more organically rather than at this moment you're going to be kind of doing this, but so maybe something that inspires that. But
so is that something that you feel can come from doing rehearsals, or do you prefer not to do rehearsals?
I like rehearsal, but maybe that's the dancer in me, and but I think a lot of actors like rehearsal, but I know that some people, you're shooting something and you just come in prepared, and film is so different from theater, so that's also, I think, where I might feel more comfortable, like running something with an actor for film stuff.
Okay.
But I know, certain projects like Shoot Quick, you gotta be on it when you get there, and then it's like, was that okay? But then they tell you, I guess, if if there's time to do it again. So
now, do you like watching yourself?
Not really.
No. I think most people don't.
It's kind of cool, but it's kind of weird at the same time, I guess.
It's gotta be strange, like sitting in the audience watching, on a big screen the finished product. And
it's good, but it's sort of weird, and even just the sound of your own voice, I guess. And then, you think, oh, maybe I could have done that different, or so.
So, we all know that you've done some great work up to now. What's going on right now? Are you currently working on a project, or is there something in development, or is there something that you're auditioning for, or hoping to be involved in?
Yeah. Well, there's. a web series that I may be doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say the name of it at the moment.
Okay.
And also, Tobin reached out actually before Christmas to do a project.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm waiting to hear back from
You
him
guys did some
on
great
that.
work together, so
Oh,
it'd be
thank
great
you.
to see
Thank
you guys
you.
work together again.
Yeah.
I know I told him that I was interviewing you for this, and he got really super excited.
Oh,
you know? He's like, "Can I come down and sit down with her?" And,
Right.
You know, so, like,
Yeah, no, he's great. I mean, he's such a good energy, and he really communicates well.
Yeah.
And so he respects everyone in the process, and I think that's really important. So he was really nice to work with.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I got lucky because it's not always that easy. And Paul's the same way. I mean, you know, it's just, you don't always get sort of a team that is so easy. And when, you know, everyone's together, I think you do better work when it just flows easier.
Yeah, you're sharing information and you're working in a
yeah,
collaborative
and
way.
even off camera, you know, it's just,
Yeah.
if you're working with good people, that helps.
Mm-hmm.
So,
in terms of the Las Vegas community
Mm-hmm.
And the work that you've done locally here, and you know, you've obviously gotten to work with, you know, a bunch of different people. What is something, or more than one thing, that you would like to see happen in the Las Vegas community as it relates specifically to the filmmaking and acting?
I think I've had this discussion with a few actors. It would be nice, you know, if for the bigger movies that they do film here,
Mm-hmm.
that they would actually use Las Vegas actors,
Mm-hmm.
because that is not really the case.
Well, that's starting to change a little bit, though.
It is,
Yeah.
but you know, there was a few things that auditioned here,
Mm-hmm.
but I think they were just filming Bourne, and
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that
No.
that was just here.
they,
Yeah, so.
you know, I think for the bigger parts, I mean, everything was cast out of LA.
Right.
So I think it would be nice to sort of have that respect from LA.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know, I've even heard from other actors that go to LA or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's the stigma that Las Vegas actors are not trained, or if you want to be a real actor, you have to be in LA.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, a lot of us go back and forth.
Right.
But, you know, it would be nice to be taken
Yeah.
more seriously, and there's a lot of good talent here.
There really is.
So,
There
you know,
really is.
at least to get seen,
Yeah.
I think. But I'm not sure about the incentives and that, so maybe
Well,
that's
there's
changing.
There's the incentives are definitely in the favor of Nevada, so that's
Yeah.
a positive thing. So I mean, we know, like you said, the Bourne project was just here, and there's more coming. So
Right.
That's definitely you know, in the cards. And you know, also you know, you had touched on the whole thing about training and
Mm-hmm.
all of that, and I think in the short time that I've been here, I've noticed that change.
Mm-hmm.
That there's been, you know, a couple of, you know, very noticeable differences in quality training. You know, like quality, like people actually discussing. I would say, I don't know. I'm not saying I'm an expert, but sort of like the real content of the crafts.
Right.
You know, and I think in any city, you know, Las Vegas is no exception. And like I said, I've lived in a number of them. You do get this sort of thing that happens where, you know, you get the opportunists that come in and they,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they'll offer quote unquote seminars and all this other stuff. And there's
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that are just trying to make a buck, and they sort of tap
Yeah.
into the whole, you know, the vulnerability of people, you know, wanting to
Right.
pursue a dream. And you know, it's something that sometimes people feel uncomfortable saying, but it's just the truth. I mean, when you've lived in big cities, you see it all
Right.
the time.
You've lived in LA, and yeah.
Right. It's very, very common, and sometimes it's difficult for people to see the difference between that and
Well, when
something
you
that's
don't
actually
know and, you
real.
know,
You know.
You just want to make it happen, then you just wouldn't want to do anything.
Right. Right.
So,
but it seems like there's a lot of really good things happening here lately. As far as but I mean specifically for, like the training of actors, like you had mentioned, like you're talking about, you're doing classes on a regular basis, even though you are working. You're not the only one that's been saying that either. There's a number of other people that are doing that kind of thing.
You have to keep sharp,
Right. So. True. And there are a number of people that are Las Vegas based that do work routinely in television and film. And that's another thing that people don't realize as well, is that there is a handful of that. So that, again, I think it's just a matter of kind of educating people as to what's available here. You know what I mean? Just
right. You mean
shining
as far as training.
Well, that, and then shining a light on people that are actually doing the real work. You know what I mean? And I think that that's something that's not so easily seen. Like, I know it took me a minute to sort of discover that,
right,
and find that that's actually true,
right.
So it's nice to be able to show that,
right.
So
maybe there are a few people that are unprepared that are sort of making that
reputation.
Sort of reputation.
Yeah, but
so
that seems to be changing, though.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think so.
Okay. Well, what's
There's also good theater companies here too.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. I don't really go out to theater, so I mean,
you just do the film thing. And
yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm in the post-production end of it, so I mean, because I do I own the visual effects company and all that stuff. So that's my quote unquote day job, right? So yeah, I don't really get to see much else outside of that.
Okay, yeah, you're busy.
I mean? Yeah. So, but yeah, theater. I mean, there's a kind of a theater. Underground here that's actually really good.
Yeah.
I mean, because I haven't.
The Onyx puts on good shows all the time, and the Cockroach Theater.
Yeah.
They do a lot of plays, and.
What kind of plays are they? What kind of shows are being done?
I don't know what they're doing right now, but.
Is it like traditional theater, like classical theater, like Shakespeare and that kind of thing, or is it
more contemporary
modern,
stuff?
Contemporary?
Yeah, absolutely. And Las Vegas Little Theater. So I think there's opportunities for actors to do theater and stay on top of their game. Although it is funny because I feel like even some coaches in LA. Don't do theater. It's a waste of time. It's it's.
What do you
no one cares when you go to audition. No one really cares if that's on your resume. But I don't know. I think if you're working on your craft, then that is helping you. So
I would think that would be an indication.
If you do a play for a month or two, then the next time you audition, you will probably be better. I mean, you're constantly working on things. So, yeah, I guess there's two ways of looking at it, but it's an interesting
I would think of
point
it as
view.
an indicator of your work ethic, right? If you're able to say that you stuck with something, you know, like a 2-month or 4-month run on something, and that shows that you're able to show up to work and actually do the work, which I think is something that we oddly don't see. We see theater, less and less of that.
Yeah, and you don't get to do another take in theater. Right. It's the moment's gone if you didn't get it. So I think it's good training.
Is that something you want to do more of?
I think so. Yeah, we'll see what's coming down the line for the seasons for these theaters, but we'll see maybe.
So what's next? What's next for Claudia in 2016? Like, what's your desire to
Good question.
See come to fruition?
Well, I'm going to be probably going to LA more for some showcases as far as agents and managers and casting directors and.
Well, you've been getting a little bit more attention lately. It seems like
Yeah. 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 No, I've definitely gotten some great feedback, so that kind of keeps you going.
Yeah.
So I would like to get representation in LA and that would be the next feat, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to have this conversation again next year and just sort of see how things have evolved. Because, you know, it seems like a lot has happened in, you know, the last year.
Yeah.
For you, you know,
yes, it has actually.
Quite a journey.
Yeah, I think it comes in clumps. You know, it's sort of like you're working, and then you think nothing's happening, and then a few things happen at the same time, and then it goes quickly, and then you know it's a rise and fall. You know.
I like to think of it like planting seeds, because it's, you know, same thing happens for me as well. Like, you'll do work on projects, and you know, sometimes you sort of get buried in the basement, sort of. You know what I mean? You feel like you are, and you're not. You feel like you're not attached to the world, and wow, nothing's happening. But what's happening is that you're planting seeds all the time, and then usually, you know, it could be 6 months later, or it could be a year later. You know, something pops up, and you know, I get that a lot, where you know, jobs will come in or projects will come in, and I won't know exactly where they came from, you know, what happened, and they'll be like, well, they'll explain to me that it's the work that you did on this or that, or
that connection you made
and I was
before.
like, wow, I completely forgot about
that.
I
know
that.
I
had no idea
it's that long,
but it helps to know that. I guess in a way it probably helps you respect the work that you do doing now, to be more serious about it, right? So that, you know, make sure that you do a good job, make sure that you have a good work ethic about what it is that you are doing, because people are watching. You might not know that.
I guess so. You forget. Sometimes
it's easy to forget.
See the trajectory.
Well, you're obviously on a trajectory that's pretty positive. I mean, I think anybody can see that from the work that you've been doing, and those of us behind the scenes, you know, that know what's sort of in development and things that you started to get calls for, and we know that that's true as well. So it'd be kind of exciting to see where you're at.
Well, thank you.
Well,
I hope so. Yeah,
I think so too. So I think that's really about it.
Okay.
So, but thanks for doing this, and thanks for talking
thank you so
with us.
much for having me.
All right, cool.